Look at that. Additional context needed. Is desi being used to ask about someone's physical location, or is a casual greeting similar to how are you? This is literally the best translation app I've ever used. Like, I'm not kidding. This UI looks so much better. It's super clean. This is something I could actually see myself using every day. This is the translation app I have been asking for, and I have made it in 55 minutes is the current thing on my timer. If you have an idea, there's literally never been a better time to build something than now. So I have an idea for something which is basically like Google Translate, but it's actually going to ask you for the context, and then it's going to explain, here's the word you're looking for, but here's how you use it, because Google Translate just simply doesn't cut it. So I'm going to build that for you live. You can watch me. Everything that I do, the tools are at the link in the description so that you can follow along and build out whatever it is that you want to build. So first things first, I like starting my projects with the Vercel Next.js boilerplate over here. So I'm going to go ahead and name this just like I named my Memberstack app, which is Better Translation AI. So let's go ahead and do that now. And I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And I've already created a new folder on my computer with the same name. So I'm just going to start a new terminal window there. I use Ghosty. You can use whatever you want. All right, so it is now done. I'm going to go ahead and click this button to open the GitHub repo right over here, and then I'm actually going to copy that URL. And now I'm going to start up Claude Code. So if you've never vibe coded something before, I have a video with the link in the description where I explain how to get started from scratch, like on a brand new computer. So go ahead and click that if you do not know yet. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open Claude Code. I already have it installed, and then I am going to paste in this GitHub URL, and I'm going to let it know I've created a new project from a GitHub repository and copy the code in here and set the remote origin. All right, so now that that's done, I'm actually going to go ahead and exit Claude Code, and then I'm going to start a new terminal tab over here, and I'm going to add two MCPs. So first I'm going to add the shadcn MCP. So link to this is in the description. I have a video explaining why I use this as well. It helps me get way better looking UIs generated by AI. You're going to watch me use it throughout this video. And the next one that I want to install is the Memberstack MCP. Link to this is also in the description. And this is going to make it so I can do like my auth, my payments, my database, which I don't think I'm going to need a database here, but anyways, all with AI without having to touch any sort of dashboard or anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in. I already have it installed. You actually saw it open there. So anyways, now what I'm going to do is open Claude Code again. It's going to recognize these MCPs. It's going to prompt me to connect my Memberstack, and then it is going to work. So as we can see, this is now opening, and I just need to go ahead and select the app that I want to connect, and I'm going to hit continue. All right, so now it's good. The next thing I'm going to do is just type in /MCP. And I'm going to restart the Memberstack one, reconnect just like that, since I just did my auth. So I'm just going to do that. Now it says reconnected to Memberstack. So just to make sure, I'm going to say, are you connected to the Memberstack MCP and the shadcn MCP? All right, so indeed it is. The next thing I'm going to want to do is run npm install to install all of my dependencies. And then I'm going to do npm run dev. And we're going to see if my project is up and running as the boilerplate that I've created. All right, there we go. As we can see, it is working. So now I can get to development. And the first thing that I always like to do is just let it know to create my auth pages. So I'm going to go ahead and just say use shadcn blocks with default styling and create me a login and a sign up page. Then change my homepage to direct people to either one of these pages. All right, there we go. So it made my UI, and this time I actually told it to add Memberstack right off the bat. I usually wait for that. So running a little experiment for you guys. Let's go ahead and see how that goes. So I'm going to hit sign up over here. I'm just going to write some nonsense in here as a test. All right, there we go. So it took me to the home page. Let's go ahead and check our members. And as we can see, it has created one. So we just one-shotted our auth forms, and we also one-shotted the actual making it work with Memberstack. So that is absolutely beautiful. The next thing that I want to do is make this work. So this time I'm not going to try to have it do both the UI and the functionality at once. I'm going to have it build out the UI. And what I'm thinking for this UI is basically a one-screen app where you can go ahead and write something in and select the language. You should be able to have a default language set on your profile as well. And then you should select what you want to translate it into. So my goal here is this. If you say a normal word like hat or something like that, in most languages, it's just hat equals hat. Hat in English is hat, and in Italian it's cappello. But some words aren't quite so simple. They're a little bit more nuanced, right? So what I want is for the AI to actually judge, is this the direct translation? Or perhaps is there a little bit of context that this user should provide so that we know what they're trying to say? And then when the translation is provided, is there any additional context that we want to give? Like, hey, use this word, but this word is perhaps rude if used in this context, that kind of thing. That's what I want this to be able to do. So I'm going to write up a prompt to hopefully have it make my UI now. Let's see how that goes. All right, so I just said now make the /translate page, which is where people should be directed to when they sign up or log in. The goal of this UI is to show them a nice input form where they can enter what they want to translate, followed by the language they want to translate it into. Then they click on translate. If it's a simple word like hat, then it should simply return the translation. If it's a bit more nuanced though, it should ask the user some follow-up questions to understand what it is they're trying to communicate so it can provide the best possible translation. Please just build the UI for now, we'll make it work after. And I forgot to say, but I'm going to add use shadcn blocks with default styling. All right, so it says it did it. Let's go ahead and check it out by navigating to the /translate page and see what we've got. Okay, so first things first, this looks pretty decent. Obviously it looks pretty boring, but we're gonna go ahead and fix that up. Okay, so I would say this UI looks pretty good, to be honest. The only thing that I want it to do is instead of just having a select box right here, I want you to be able to like search through it, because I want there to be all sorts of languages here, like even dialects and all that sort of thing eventually. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it know that now. And also we have a little error here that I'm just gonna send it to it. This is a simple error, I get it all the time. All right, there we go. So it made the changes that I wanted it to make, and along with that, I added English and Serbian to it because those are two languages that I know. So I'm going to use that for testing. That being said, we can't test anything right now because it doesn't work. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to make that work. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to write up my prompt and then I'll read it to you. So I said, now can we make this UI work? I want to use the OpenAI API with GPT-5. Basically, they enter in what they want to say plus the source and target language, then it tries to decide if there is a simple translation. If so, it returns the answer. If not, a dialog box pops up with a question returned by the AI to gather additional context. Then they type it in and click continue. After that, it returns the correct translation, followed by a list of notes about the translation. For example, when to use it, the tone, anything relevant. The AI should be able to return everything in JSON, and the UI should take that response and manipulate the UI in order to make it work. If you need new UI, use shadcn blocks with default styling. I will add my API key to the env local file after. Please make one if it doesn't exist. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to plan mode now. And then I'm going to let this run. We're going to get back, hopefully, with our app working. All right, there we go. So it says it's working. I'm a little bit skeptical, but let's go ahead and try it out. I've added my API key. I've done what I needed to do. So let's go ahead and try it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do from Serbian into English, because there are some things in Serbian. For example, there's a phrase, gde si. That means where are you? And it literally means where are you? That being said, people use that to greet someone, like a friend they haven't seen in a while. So if I translate that, for example, I write it into Google Translate, it's going to return it and say, where are you? So imagine someone comes up to me and they're like, gde si? And then I translate it and I'm like, I'm here? Like, what do you mean, where am I, right? But what they're actually saying is like, what's up, long time no see, right? So that's what I want this to be able to do. I want it to be able to detect that and go, okay, wait, in what context are they asking you? So let's go ahead and try it out now and see what happens. First of all, if this even works, like it might just throw an error right off the bat. And if it does work, is it working right? So translated text from Serbian into English. Let's hit translate and let's see what happens. Look at that. Additional context needed. Is desi being used to ask about someone's physical location or is a casual greeting similar to how are you? This is going to need some tweaking, so it's clearly on the right track, but like, how am I supposed to know that? So I'm just going to say, someone just walked up to me and said it. And I'm going to hit continue. And let's see if it is working. There we go. Okay, so translation. Where have you been? That is actually really good. Translation notes, tone. The tone is informal and casual, often used amongst friends or acquaintances. When to use. It's appropriate when someone's expressing curiosity or mild concern about another person's whereabouts. Typically, that one's open to interpretation. Typically after not seeing them for some time. It's common to greet someone with desi as a way of acknowledging their presence and expressing interest in their recent activities or whereabouts. Alternative translations. Another possible translation is where are you, which is more literal, but may not capture the implied context of not having seen someone. Wow. So, one shot, and this is literally the best translation app I've ever used. Like, I'm not kidding. I don't want to be that like clickbait person who's just sitting here and is like, oh, I just like one shot at the greatest app on earth. But like straight up, use Google Translate. It doesn't do this. I'm going to go on my phone right now. I'm going to open Google Translate and I'm going to type in the exact same Serbian to English. And it says, where are you? Which would lead to some confusion, right? Like I'm actually going to be using this app that I'm building right in front of you. I'm actually going to be using this for myself in my own daily life. So, okay, anyways, there was one issue. It was kind of a confusing question. The context question that's returned, it needs to understand the person probably doesn't really know the language, right? So they're not going to know in which context it's being used. They need to ask a question to the person as if they understand that the person using this app doesn't know the language they're translating to. Right? All right, so let me do that now and see if I can fix it. All right, so it said it did it. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh and try out the exact same translation. And let's hit translate and let's see if this time it asks me something that would be good. So is this being used in a casual conversation with a friend or in a formal setting? Let's say in a formal setting. Okay, so there we go. This one is good because really if it's a formal setting, then they are going to be asking like, where are you? There we go. Okay, this is really, really good. Now, what I don't like about it is like visually I'm using shadcn, you know, it like the buttons and all that fun stuff looks great. I don't like the visual flow of this dashboard at all. So I'm actually going to work on fixing this up. I'm just going to fast forward this part. I want it to be like more of a step-by-step type of flow. So I'm going to write a prompt to it. We're going to get it looking a little bit better, and then I'll get back to you. All right, so this is amazing. This UI looks so much better. It's super clean. This is something I could actually see myself using every day. I just realized I haven't been pushing this to GitHub. I'm gonna push this to GitHub real quick so we don't lose any of this phenomenal progress. Okay, this is awesome. This is like so good. I pushed it to GitHub now. I just tested this. I'm learning Italian, right? So this, I didn't even know. I'm like, how's it going? It asked me, are you texting someone or is it like in person? I said, I'm texting someone. I didn't know there was a difference when texting someone versus in person. If you speak Italian, let me know in the comments below. It says come va instead. That's amazing. That is an excellent. Another possible translation could be come stai, which is slightly more personal and can be used interchangeably. This is the translation app I have been asking for, and I have made it in 55 minutes is the current thing on my timer. All right, so now I've got my test working well. I've deployed it to GitHub. The next thing that I want to go ahead and do is I want to actually go and add my API key as an environment variable in Vercel so that this works live. I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut that part out, obviously, so you can't see my API key. So give me a sec. All right, there we go. I've added my API key. So the next thing I want to do is just make this look a little bit nicer with TweakCN. So if you don't know, I use this to make everything look nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I just popped this open and I use this for another project, but I actually really like it. So let's go ahead and just use this exact same TweakCN theme. So I'm going to paste this into Claude and I'm going to say, can you replace my default styling with this nice TweakCN theme? Boom. All right. So I don't need to set that one to think mode. It's going to know what it needs to do already. All right, so there's one more thing that I want to do in this video, and that is I want to make it so people have to pay to use this. So I'm all for free apps, but the thing is, it would cost me money if somebody used this right now because it's using OpenAI. So it's going to need to cost money, unfortunately, and I actually want to make this public. First, I'm going to use this. So stay tuned for an update on this. I might make it so other people can use it. And I'm going to make it, let's say for now, $5 a month. First, I'm going to close up Claude Code and reopen it because we can see this little context left until auto compact thing. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to exit Claude Code, reopen it, and then I'm going to ask it to use Memberstack to make it so that people need to have this premium plan, which is $5 a month, in order to use the translation features. So I'm going to do that right now, and I will see you with my paid plans. All right, there we go. So I'm going to start this from scratch just so you can see. So I just built, like I said, literally my favorite translation app that I have ever used using AI. Along with that, I have pricing built into it. So people have to pay $5 a month. And a lot of people might think, okay, it's Memberstack client side, so is that really secure? What if bots can get to it? Blah, blah, blah. So the authentication to see this UI is client side. That being said, with the Memberstack MCP, it has full knowledge of how to use Memberstack server side as well. So all of the API routes, so the translation, before it actually uses OpenAI, it is verifying that this indeed is a logged in member and they do indeed have the correct plan before it even runs this. So yes, it's fully secure, and if you can hack it, please do, please do. I think I'm actually gonna make this public soon, so go ahead and give it a go. I made an offer on Twitter recently saying, someone go ahead and hack me, please. If they do, I'll put your thing in my bio. No one did it. So that bounty is still open to claim. Anyways, I'm going to show you this from scratch. So this is a almost ready to launch business. I just need to deploy it to Vercel, which I am actually about to do as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit sign up over here, enter some stuff in. All right, so now it has OpenStripe checkout, and I'm just going to do test card information. Since it's still in test mode, I can switch this to live mode at any time in Memberstack super easily. All right, there we go. So I have successfully paid. As you can see, it says I am a premium member. And once again, I'm going to use the test that I've been using this whole time from Serbian to English, and I'm going to hit translate. So what's happening in the back right now is it's verifying that I am indeed logged in server side. Now I'm going to answer this. It's going to verify that again. So let's say casual, Kasula. Nope, casual, continue. All right. Then it is going to give me the correct translation, which I can copy. So there you have it. So you just watched me. The time on my clock right now is 1 hour and 28 minutes. This is a almost ready to launch business. So I'm going to do one more thing, and then I'm going to be able to access this on my phone. Then I just need to hook up a custom domain, fix some things. So for example, right now it runs like an OpenAI call for every single translation. So again, if I do hat, for example, let's say from English to Italian and click translate, it's still running an OpenAI call, OpenAI API call, which would probably cost more than necessary. So if there's some way I can route things correctly, let's say use the Google Translate API, that would get cost down. So I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you like you can launch some unicorn business in an hour and 30 minutes. I'm not going to lie to you. That being said, this is a ridiculous MVP. It is secure. It is ready to be launched. If anyone wants to tell me otherwise, go right ahead. And then I can spend more time on this and make it what I actually want to make it. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is actually a great thing that could be turned into a real business, and what I really wanted to do in this video. So in most of my builds, I kind of just, stop at a certain point. In this video, what I really wanted to do is like go to the finish line, like get it to a point where it's literally, I'm not going to buy a domain live. Well, actually, I might do that in a future video. Let me know if you want to see something like that. But anyways, all I'm going to do now, and then the video is ready to end, is I'm going to push this live. So I was getting some build errors. I'm going to say, can you run build? Once it's done, push it to Vercel. Then I'm going to try to go through the process for you on my phone, and we're going to confirm that it is live and that other people can use it. So let's give it a go now. All right, there we go. So the deployment was successful. I am going to try this now on my phone, and this is something that I'm actually going to use myself. So you just watch me build a tool, not just for this video, but something that I actually want to use myself. And if I get a lot of value from it, I might actually launch this as a product. So here we are. I'm going to see if I can show you this while looking at it. So we got my screen right here on the domain. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit sign up. And I'm going to use my, real information this time for like a real account. So I'll write create account. It is creating. Now it's taking me to Stripe checkout. I am going to select a card. Again, I'm just going to do test information since it's still in test mode. Once it goes live, obviously we'd use real information, which by the way, I could just pay with Apple Pay. That's how cool Memberstack is. I don't even need to configure that. Just right out the gate, I can pay with Apple Pay. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna stop bragging to you about Memberstack and fill out my checkout information here. So, okay, there we go. Processing. Look at that. All right, payment was successful. I don't need to save that card. All right, so now we see this, and it's a pretty good UI already for mobile. I would just probably change these to be like one on top of the other. So now I'm gonna do the same test that I have been doing. I'm gonna do from Serbian to English, and the same thing. So right there, as you can see, we are going to click translate and test it out. Okay, so additional context needed, exactly what we want. Again, I'm gonna say casual, it's translating. There we go. As we can see, it has worked. So you just watched me build a full business in an hour and a half. It was less for you because I sped up the waiting on Claude Code with Memberstack MCP. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.